With Halloween just around the corner, the Better Business Bureau wants you to be aware of something much more frightening, so-called zombie or phantom debt scams that can haunt you for weeks or even months. Now, for more on this, we're joined by Simone Lis, President and CEO at the Better Business Bureau. Simone, thank you so much for joining us. All right, we heard it there. Zombie debts. What are they and how do they work?
Well, zombie debt is basically a debt collection scam, and really what happens is that you might get a call or some other sort of solicitation from someone you don't know, and they're impersonating a legitimate company or government agency telling you that you owe them money. They might be very friendly at first and really helpful in trying to arrange some sort of payment plan with you, and then suddenly get very aggressive where they're starting to do things like threaten to garnish your wages, take you to court, show up at your door, and do other things to try to get money from you.
All right, so it's called zombie debts or scams, but it's not just around Halloween, it's all year round. But also, it doesn't come in the form of just a phone call, letters as well. Can you talk more about that?
Yes, in one situation that we had a report, we actually heard from a consumer where she had received a letter telling her that she had owed $15,000. And at first she was quite frightened, but once she realized that that this was not her and that this was not her purchase, she disregarded the collection notice. But it can be through multiple mechanisms. I mean, the purpose here is that they're trying to connect with you and they're trying to engage you. And once they get your attention, at that point, they can be quite aggressive. And really, again, the goal is to get your money.
Why is this particular scam so difficult to get rid of, especially considering if someone doesn't owe anybody any debt?
Well, I mean, like any other sort of scam, scam artists are very good at adapting. They're very good at connecting with people, and they're really calling upon your need to act and your fear. So it can be difficult to combat these. You know, really, in these types of circumstances, what our goal is really to help educate people and try to teach them about common things that they can look out for with any scam. Our research has shown that when you're aware of the commonalities around scams, you're less likely to be victimized.
And talking about that education and being aware, what are some tell signs that it is a scam, the obvious ones?
The obvious ones is that, you know, first thing, listen to your gut instinct. If you're not sure, one really good way of being cognizant is to talk to someone. For these types of scams specifically, you want to make sure you're asking for proof of the debt. You want to know who it is that's calling you. Don't engage. So if you do find out that this isn't familiar to you, you keep a close lid on your debts. Just disregard. Find out when the debt was first owned. You know, there is a liability period. If it was more than 2 years, there may not be any sort of debt. And then, of course, you can also do things like check with your credit history frequently. There's two in Canada, Equifax and TransUnion Canada. And both of those things can be a really good sign of whether there's some sort of debt that you may or may not know of. So it is important to check your credit history frequently.
All right, Simone, we got about 20 seconds here, but how can you fight back against these types of scams?
Well, I think it's really important that if you are contacted, report it. Report it to us. We have a great tool on our website called Scam Tracker. It's like a little heat map, and you can see what scams are operating where. And we really want you to report it to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. They work with law enforcement around Canada to try to combat and educate about these as well.
All right, a lot of good information and great tips there. Thank you so much. That is Simone Lis with the Better Business Bureau.